Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I am your host, the Incredible Sulk. I hope you guys are having a good evening tonight, and it's Friday, and it's ready to go, and we're holding it together and all that, and we're going to be fine. Right? We're going to be fine. We're going to be okay. That's what I want. That's what I expect to happen. Anyways, we're doing The Simpsons and how they predict everything tonight, how they predict the future. We're going to see how that goes, and yeah. I hope you guys are having a good evening. I hope you guys are, staying strong, making me proud, and all that jazz. You know how it is. Anyways, guys, working, driving. Yeah. I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is the Sulk stream, and this is called How the Simpsons Predict the Future. So, enjoy.
So intricate that it's gained a cult following. I've heard of it, and so have you, but it's getting out of hand. 9 months ago, a post appeared on Reddit. It asks the question, does The Simpsons predict the future? From predicting the 2020 election of Donald Trump to Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime show, the question in this post has been asked many times. Something really bothered me about this post, with 0 upvotes. The responses to the latter half. It was a catastrophic flood of deranged theories, responses based around the idea of a new world order, explaining that The Simpsons is the vessel used by the ruling elite to tell us what's coming. And it wasn't just this thread. The dialogue is everywhere. The show's creator is a Freemason, Jeffrey Epstein, September 11th. These theories are endless, but they still leave the question open. The predictions. How are they doing it?
You've probably heard the conspiracy theory that The Simpsons can predict everything about the future. Who are the world's...
That guy's super duper gay. That was a super gay guy.
Greatest accurate prediction.
Predicted the future.
Some of these predictions are clearly surface level. Others are alarmingly sophisticated. So for the past 4 months, we've been searching for...
By the way, after this, I'm going to go premium, and then we're going to play more game. I'm going to play the Still Wakes the Deep game, probably, for as long as I can.
Answer, one that will finally satisfy us. We listened to common theories, and we had assumptions of our own. We went the extra mile, collecting data that we couldn't find on the internet, hiring statisticians and interviewing experts. At times, it felt ridiculous. But when we ran the numbers, one explanation stood above the rest.
So everyone is wrong.
One that was left out of the mainstream narrative almost entirely. This video was meant to be a counterbalance to the flood of derangement, but it turned out to be the kind of thing that makes you stop, look at yourself in the mirror, and say,
holy shit.
This is a story about the undeniable humor of our reality and how the human brain interprets the world around us.
What is the mind? Is it just a system?
The early Tracy Ullman show, where The Simpsons came from, was a trip. You look at his eyes, it's like you're on acid or something.
Of impulses, or is it something tangible? Doggy, good doggy.
What is mind? No matter. What is matter? Never mind.
I mean, this is only 16 minutes long, so we'll figure out what we're gonna do. We're gonna maybe I'll just go early in the stream and play video games, just get the premium out of the way. I don't know.
I've owned this mic for years, and this is my first time using it. Fuck. That opening was pretty dramatic. I'm sorry, but I had to. For real, this story's super interesting. I want to show you. For years, even the mainstream news has been asking how, and they seem to have come up with the most simple explanation. So that's where we started.
The Simpsons predicted part
Why does
one.
this guy have a fucking nose ring? Like, why does a guy have a nose ring? That's like, would I look good with a nose ring right here? Would you guys respect me more if I had a nose ring right here? Huh? No, you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't, because I wouldn't deserve that.
Predicting the future.
Their explanation is based off a quote from an assistant math professor.
Assistant math professor at the University of Albany.
Here's how the logic goes. The Simpsons is one of the longest running shows of all time.
In 29 seasons, 120,000 jokes. 8.54 jokes.
How do you even determine what a joke is? Like, I mean, there's a lot of bits and stuff like that, but I don't know. There's humorous little pokes at stuff. What do you consider a joke? Like, what would be a... I don't know, man.
Per minute.
They say it's just a numbers game.
This only comes out to about a 1.6% success rate. The chalk's too big.
They compare it to Star Trek, which has had a similar number of episodes.
Star Trek comprises over 760 episodes of television and 13 feature films.
Star Trek has also predicted the future.
Wait a second. What other television show has
Star Trek's job was to predict the future. I mean, like, it's from a futuristic society, and so they kind of had to guess what kind of technologies they would have. Yeah, we don't have teleporters and stuff like that, but we have a lot of interracial stuff. I don't think that was part of it, right? That is what it is. But yeah, they're supposed to predict technology. And a lot of the technology that we had at the time, like ion engines, are actually pretty old technology. They're weak, but they do go pretty fast. I think the Voyager had an ion engine.
Or 700 episodes.
So these shows have just had more opportunity to be right.
With that many predictions, they essentially just got lucky.
By the way, Rumble set up like a new kind of a new Rumble studio, and I'm like, oh great, so you just changed everything, and didn't give me any heads up or how to use it or anything like that. So I appreciate that, Rumble. Thank you. That's Rabbit says the Star Trek did all the racial LGBTQ stuff. Yeah, they sure did.
Argue that there's nothing special about The Simpsons predicting the future because other shows have done it too. It's luck. I was disappointed too, until we took a closer look.
The theory.
Were there lesbians on Star Trek? I mean, how do you get anything done as a lesbian on Star Trek? You're constantly fighting with other people. Do they go to the holodeck where they just fight with each other? Or they just do lesbian stuff there? I can't imagine like relationships would be very stable with the technology of a holodeck, right? Because you get in a fight or anything like that, you just head on over to the holodeck, and then you can have a family there, you can have a wife there. I mean, if they have that technology, every cabin on the Enterprise would be a holodeck, right? Where you go back, like you're traveling through space or something like that, and then you go back to your cabin, and then you're in a cabin in the woods, and you have like, your hot wives and stuff like that, and then it's peaceful and it's quiet, and then nobody fucking bothers you, and it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's real enough to you. You feel things, you smell things, you hear things, and you taste good things, right? And then after that, you leave, and then you go back onto the Star Trek Enterprise, right? You have no idea you don't even know if the Enterprise is real. You don't know which one is real between all the hot babes in your cabin or like the crazy aliens in the Worf, the black guy with the wrinkles on his forehead. You don't know what's real, and you don't really give a shit. So, yeah, I don't know. With that kind of technology, I don't see people going very far or doing anything, really. Just kind of retracting in. There's no necessity to actually explore the universe if you can do stuff like that, right? What is out there that is so much more interesting and better than what we can do with a holodeck? Nothing. There's nothing. Even with faster than light speed technology, there's really no reason to travel outward. There's nothing, even if there is aliens and shit like that, Who cares? Why bother them? They'll probably just get pissed off, and we really have no reason to do it.
On this foundation alone, that the two shows have a similar number of episodes, and that they have.
Rabbit says they were usually in the military. Yeah, the Federation or whatever it is, or like security officers. Everyone would be fucking like crazy in the holodeck if it was real. Imagine being the janitor after that. You know, I don't want to. Who's the janitor on the? First of all, you have the technology to travel the stars. And like, you know, imagine anything you want and it becomes real. And then some guy's the fucking janitor. They have a janitor. It's not some robot that kind of wipes down the loads on the holodeck. I find that hard to believe. No one's going to be like, I've signed up for the Federation, Mom and Dad. Oh, what are you going to be? A starship captain? Are you going to be the medical officer or the weird psychiatrist that can read people's minds? No, I'm going to wipe down the loads on the holodeck. Oh, okay. A
similar number of accurate predictions. But that's not true.
Officer Jose of the USS Enterprise. Officer Jose. He's just a stowaway.
The Simpsons have had more predictions come true than other shows. Like, by a lot. The answer really feels like it's missing something. Like it's only half of the explanation.
Transport.
Background noise is here for the best podcast out here. Out there. You're in the wrong place.
Room energized.
Just in the wrong place. You should be in the holodeck with all the hot bitches and stuff like that. You know, and then Ensign fucking Jose comes in and wipes down the loads after that. But he doesn't really do a good job, right? There's like the first officer's loads are still drying on the wall. And then you touch it, right? You'd be like, this isn't part of the holo. Is this it? What is this? And then it like end simulation and it's fucking loads. It's fucking loads.
Star Trek predicted shit like flip phones.
Prepare to beam Scotty on board.
Flat screen TVs.
Grid 7 pawn takes rook.
They're really easy to dismiss as coincidence, luck, whatever you want to call it. From Star Trek, it's all of
Intergalactic
them.
Jizz Mopper? I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be your title. It'd probably be something fancier, like holodeck maintenance engineer or something, or the porn studio caretaker. I don't know, man. It just seems like there'd be no reason to live on a starship if you could just have a holodeck and do whatever you want forever, right? Why would you bang black chicks? I mean, some people are into that, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they got to be out there.
And The Simpsons, they have some of these.
I mean, Mersh, right? He just, right, he fucking goes into the holodeck and he gets transported to Wakanda where, you know, there's tons of black chicks, but they're not too ghetto. And so he's like into it. Okay, fine. All right, I understand that.
Video calls, autocorrect. The coincidence explanation makes sense here. These shallow predictions.
How do I rub light waves to completion? Why? I mean, I think it'd be a very selfish kind of lover. You'd be a very selfish lover, and then that's it. There's no reason to actually put in the effort or anything like that. But if you wanted to, you could just set the orgasm settings to low, you know, like easy mode, and then it would be no issue. It would be no issue. I'm sure you could do the opposite too and put like Dark Souls level orgasms where you have to hit every move correctly, right? And like memorize their attack pattern. Both could be fun. Both could be interesting in their own special way. Yep.
Don't merit screaming headlines. Nobody's talking about them. Certainly not Reddit. They don't make it to the...
But Monkey said, Mass Effect taught me to be a space racist. You know, I practice my racism right here on Earth, and once the day comes where I get beamed up to the Enterprise, because I'm sure it'll happen in my lifetime, and, you know, why the hell not? I will have a good long history of thorough racism from the Earth. And so I think I can carry that to other galaxies and planets and stuff like that. And like, oh, I hate those Ferengi. Those cheap ass Ferengis with their questionable business ethics and their coin clipping. Their credit clipping.
Those boards are focused on things that are more elaborate and intricate, alarmingly sophisticated predictions. The reason that it's a numbers game.
Rabbit says the plantation owner simulation could be fun. Does it have to be a simulation, though? I mean, I guess, again, it wouldn't matter. You own slaves. You're owning slaves and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that might be a headache. I could see it'd be fun for a little bit, but I'd probably be like, you know what? I'm over this. You know, they're constantly fighting. And, like, I don't... It's just... They escape, and then I have to, like, I have to hobble them. I have to hobble half of my slaves. And then they, you know, like, the morale gets real low, and so they won't work. And so I have to start whipping them to up the morale. And then, like, it just becomes a nightmare.
Narrative feels like only half of the truth is because it is. The mainstream theory is answering a question that no one is asking.
Pamonkey says, I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. Well, watch it, because 7 of 9 is a babe.
Scientists believe they are
Scarlett Johansson, I think that was, yeah.
Getting closer to proving the existence of the Higgs boson, the hypothetical subatomic particle thought to supply mass to the matter that makes up our universe. An experiment is to resume Wednesday at the Large Hadron Collider near Geneva, designed to catch a glimpse of the so-called God particle.
In 2012, scientists at CERN discovered the missing God particle, a previously unknown building block of our universe.
That was over 10 years ago. That was like 13 years ago. They discovered it. And what has happened since then? Nothing. We can't make teleporters or anything like that. Nothing. We still have the iPhones that look exactly the same. My phone looks exactly the same. Nothing. You know, being in the future is kind of fucking boring. There's some cool things. Like, I have an e-bike, and that thing's pretty sweet. But that's like the main thing. I'm like, oh, the future is kind of cool. But that's it. That was it. Right? The battery technology to power motors to make my motorcycle quieter. That's cool, I guess. But that's it? That's all of it? And then the rest of the future is like, yeah, there's like mass unemployment and like everyone's really hard. Everything's super expensive. And yeah, that's it though. You get an e-bike. That's cool. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I have to pay out the ass just to have basic standard of living. But at least I get a fucking e-bike.
Today known as the Higgs.
Give me the holodeck with the black slave chicks or something like that. Give me something, right? If you want to make life terrible, at least give us something. Give us some VR that's not shit. That's not hot fucking garbage. Okay? Can you do that? Can you? Because I fucking wear a refrigerator on the front of my thing and then I have to imagine a bunch of shit. It's not fun. I don't even have one. Maybe I will get the chip. Maybe I will get the Elon Musk chip where they put it in your fucking head. And then the spider veins of metal just go into your brain. Because I don't care anymore. I don't fucking care anymore.
Boson.
It fundamentally changes our understanding of the universe.
It's a massive discovery for quantum physics.
There's nothing else like the Higgs in nature. This is a completely new kind of object.
Scientists believe that without the Higgs, there would be no gravity and no universe. 15
years earlier, in a 1998 episode, Homer wrote this equation on the blackboard. To viewers, it meant nothing. It was absolute jargon.
The monkey says, I heard that scientists, something, had a convo with the demon for 7 years. Yeah, you know what? I think that's probably true. And yet you might be like, John, you're just joking. They're not actually talking to demons. Yeah, no, they are. 100%. Look, this is a joke show. I make jokes. That's not a joke. There is some sort of communication with maybe an entity or a being or something that somebody is having on the planet with something else. I believe this firmly. It's not a joke. Maybe it is scientists talking directly with demons and somehow misinterpreting it as math or something like that. But something is going on. Something deeper than just, well, what we're being told, obviously. But something deeper is somebody is communicating with something or somebody else or something like that. The devil is involved. He is involved. Whatever you want to call him, he is involved.
Stage. So this is a long time ago. nobody knew the mass of the Higgs boson. Nobody even knew if it existed.
The equation predicted the mass of the missing God particle so precisely that he was only this far off.
This breakthrough in understanding the origins of mass
15 whole years before it was discovered.
But Mikey says the Higgs was proven. The CERN made a demon door. Well, let me see it. Let me see the demon door. Let me see the demon door. Let me see the demon door. Let him come in and let him just fucking fuck shit up more. I mean, like, did a bunch of trans people come out of it? Was that it? Or did demons come out and then infect the trans people, and then they're like, you know what, I'm going to cut my dick off. That seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to do. There's no way I could regret this in the future. And then they rope up, right? That pissed off lawyer is detransitioning. Did you guys know that? Did you know? You guys know who that is on Twitter? She's a lawyer who decided she wanted to be a guy, and you'll recognize her. She's the female with a beard that's constantly on the edge of tears, constantly on the edge of just bursting into tears. You can tell by the look on her face. Yes, she is mad. She is pissed, but constantly at the edge of tears. Like a typical man, right? Like your typical, you know, hard fighting, hard farting man, right? Eating steak and stuff. And then we're constantly just about to cry. All of us. That's apparently her vision of a man, because that's what she is constantly doing. She's at the edge of tears in every photo I've ever seen her in. Ever. Constantly at the very border of tears.
What? This scene is by far the most specific prediction The Simpsons has made, to a shocking level of accuracy. The question we're asking, the question that's been asked for 30 years, the answer to this whole video, it must be buried in this one scene.
The first equation on the board is an attempt to estimate the mass of the Higgs boson. And as a particle physicist, that resonated with me.
We're gonna do the math. Bitch.
Are you serious? Fuck.
She's more masculine than the guy with the nose ring.
I made my friend.
So what, you gotta watch every episode of The Simpsons? That's hours. I mean, that's hundreds of hours. How many it's been on for like 30 years. There's no way anybody's going to go watch all of that and be able to like pay attention reasonably enough.
Friend Mia watch 100 episodes of The Simpsons.
Oh, only 100, okay.
Picked from all seasons. I couldn't get over it.
It's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
Edward Snowden's NSA spying scandal. They made the prediction 5 years before it even came true. Trump's presidency, 17 years.
We've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
Rabbit says the CERN open equals more rainbow flags. Coincidence? I don't know, man. I don't know what a coincidence is. I don't know. I mean, are coincidences real? I mean, yeah, sure they are. But like, not really. Like, you run in, like, a woman runs into another woman at the grocery store. Oh, what a coincidence seeing you here. It's not really, though. You both eat food. You both live in the same town. You both, I mean, your kids go to the same school, so you're pretty close to each other. I mean, the chances of you running into each other are pretty high. It's pretty high. So it's not really a coincidence, is it? It just kind of happened. It is a happening. So if you have a real low standard of coincidence, yeah, sure, coincidences happen all the time. But they're not really coincidences, are they? Right? What would be a real coincidence? Like me, I'm going and let's say I'm going to go and get some brats from the grocery store, and then Abraham Lincoln comes out of a time portal and shoots at me. I'm like, what a coinky dink. See, that, how could that happen? Right? That would surprise me. It would confuse me deeply, but it would also surprise me. I would say that is a coincidence. It was coincidental.
Disney buys.
He just happened to be shooting out of his time portal. At that time, I was grabbing brats from the grocery store. It coincided at a very strange time.
Fox, 19 years.
Coincidences, they're supposed to be unrelated, but like almost all of them are completely related and not that shocking.
Statue of David censorship, 26 years.
Rushing Matt says the Simpsons have sucked since 1998. Yeah, I know they have. I know.
Okay, it's not a deep state plot, and it's not by chance. The show's executive producer, Al Jean, says that they're somehow predicting these intentionally.
Emmy award-winning producer and writer. He's worked on The Simpsons since the start in 1989.
One overwhelming factor that determines the content of the show is that we are produced a year in advance, like the clip I just showed. We're actually amateur futurologists.
How the fuck are they doing that?
They're just fucking writers. They're just fucking writers. Amateur futurologists or so, look, I mean, they are professional comedic writers. And to be a somewhat decent comedic writer, you need to, you have to be kind of not retarded. You have to be somewhat pretty smart just to be able to think of jokes that are actually kind of funny, right? And so you're going to also think of other things like, I wonder what's going to happen in 20 years. And if you just keep doing that, eventually you're going to be on the money, right? I mean, you have that over thousands of episodes, which the Simpsons does. It has thousands of episodes. And reasonably intelligent people writing for the show, making predictions about what's going to happen, because that's just what the show is. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Not a coincidence. That's a lucky guess. It's lucky guess after lucky guess. But again, it's not even that lucky. It's actually... It's pretty clear what's happening, right? You're throwing away the bad predictions and you're keeping the good prediction. It's like, okay, there's this thing, like, the History Channel show, the NostroDOH effect, which is absolute nonsense. Nostradamus made lots and lots and lots and lots of predictions, right? And he was very, very vague. And they all do this. All these soothsayers, these clairvoyants, they're all like Baba Vanga or William Casey, Casey something, Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey made so many predictions, it filled up an entire library. And they're all like, how did they get this one from this book he made, 6 years in? And then, it was the only one. And it's not even really pertaining to anything involved. It's so vague that it's painting the target around the arrow, right? That we have never used Nostradamus' work to be like, there's going to be a terrorist attack tomorrow. That has never happened. Ever. But people look back and be like, how did he predict that? He didn't. You're interpreting that as a prediction. That's not a prediction. Not at all.
Okay, I've got all the numbers. I counted every time the show had a joke or had a plot device that had the potential to come true.
Mia's
You're a woman, you don't know what a joke is.
Discoveries were worthy of reshaping how I perceive the word.
There's some good old Sulk sexism for you. Bang, bammo.
Prediction.
I'm not changing. I'm not going to do better. I'm not going to change. I like who I am, and I'm going to stay that way.
Up until now, I've been seeing this whole
Mitchell
spectrum
Obama.
But it's really not fair to say that this is the same as this.
$9? This one's on me.
There was one crazy sell where Bart held up a brochure that is New York on $9 a day. The world...
Sure, that could be a coincidence. It ain't. That shit ain't a coincidence. Lick my nutsack and my butthole at the same time. That shit was on purpose. Right? There's a difference between predictions and just like telling you what's going to happen. Right? The people the people who write for The Simpsons probably are in the know in certain circles that we, the layman people, are not involved in. Yeah, this is not a prediction. It's not. This is a hint. And don't tell me they don't do that predictive programming bullshit, because they do. They absolutely do.
Trade Center. This was 1996.
This is also a conspiracy show.
It was in the background, so it looked like 9/11. That was insane. And of course, unplanned. It was a terrible...
Nope, not unplanned. Not unplanned at all. Nope, I don't believe you, fucking nose ring douche.
Coincidence. That was Al Jean, the show's current executive producer and former showrunner. Conspiracy theorists online claim that this is proof that the deep state masterminds behind the show knew of 9/11 5 years in advance. The episode is...
Yes, they did.
Completely absent of anything to do with the attack. It's a magazine with the New York skyline. That's a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
According to the internet, there's 43 predictions that The Simpsons got right. But I think 13 of them are coincidences. Looking at the other 30 predictions with a degree of like...
You think. I don't give a fuck what you think.
95% confidence and a P-score around like 0.11.
I don't know what P-score is.
She said a bunch of other shit that totally went above my head. It made me realize that we needed to get a real professional involved. This other part of the spectrum with...
Despite says it's like cold reading, like mediums. Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah. There's a lot of people who make predictions. Like cold readers is a good example, because cold readers aren't really making predictions. They're making assumptions. They're making assumptions about people in the audience. Like, there's so many people in this audience. One of them must have had, especially if they come to like a crossing over with douchebag Edwards or whatever. It's pretty safe to assume that somebody had somebody close to them die very recently. And so if you just said, I'm feeling somebody here, somebody that was close to somebody else that died very recently, you're gonna be right. And then people are gonna be like, how did he know that? How the fuck did he know that? Well, magic, and he's got the power of seeing ghosts and shit. So, magic.
30 examples unexplained by coincidence. What does it mean?
Ardenshire says P equals quantitative probability index. It's statistical modeling value. Well, Ardenshire would know that. He works for like a lab or something. Thank you.
I reached out to a
Thank you. Now I know.
Statistician on Fiverr, but they turned out to be a bot impersonating a crypto influencer.
Thanks, Fiverr. But luckily, Mia knew a real...
Rushing Matt says, what is this podcast about? That's a good question. I don't know. What is this? What is the Sulk stream? It has to do comedy / conspiracy theory / philosophy / I don't know. Society? I don't know. I don't know what this show is about. I don't know. I make jokes. That's what this is a comedy show. This is a fucking comedy show. And nothing else. There's no facts or science or anything about it. This is comedy. These are jokes. These aren't facts. I mean, most of the things I say, I straight up make up. I just make them up. There's no basis in reality whatsoever. I make up almost everything I say. There. See, now you can't take me to court.
Real professional. So here's what they said.
That's my out, right? If I just say everything I'm saying is a lie, then there's no way I'm going to get sued for telling accidentally true things, right? I've beaten the system yet again. Sulk W, yet again. Fucking shocking, isn't it?
Okay, go for it.
What a coinky
Predicting the future is notoriously difficult, so the fact that The Simpsons has managed to do
Rushing Matt says, I mean this particular stream going on now. Oh, this is about The Simpsons predicting the future.
it 30 times could...
That's so funny, though, dude. What is the Sulk stream? Lies. It is a book of lies. Oh, this is about The Simpsons.
Could be seen as statistically significant. And compared to
the video is called How The Simpsons Predict the Future.
Other shows like Star Trek, Futurama, South Park, The Simpsons does stand out.
Holy shit.
So everyone is wrong. How?
My name's Simon Singh. I live in London. And
great. Another British person.
15, 20 years I've been
writing. Look how British. Look how fucking British. Very British. Do you guys see that British guy that survived the Air India? He was very British. He had a cup of tea and an umbrella and everything. And he was didn't speak a lick of English, but he was British, right? And had never seen toilet paper in his life, but he was British. And I don't think there was any white people on that plane.
Books about mathematics and physics.
Simon wrote a book about The Simpsons too, but he's being humble here. He's a theoretical and particle physicist. He contributed to other discoveries at CERN, where the Higgs boson was discovered. If there's one person that has the answer, it's him.
When you have such a long-running show that covers so many different topics, there are bound to be things that turn out to be true in due course.
Part of getting it right is luck, but the big ones, the ones that are impossible to explain by coincidence, the ones that spark up conspiracies on Reddit, those are not predictions at all.
Brushing Matt says the British have the best food. No, that's not true. That's not. They have utilitarian food. I mean, like, they have decent cooks. I mean, I've been in England a few times, and I've had good food in England. It's just the typical British meal is like very utilitarian, and British food gets a bad rap because it's like the traditional British food was from a time before refrigeration and what they could like eke out of the land, and it was considered, it's like eels and beans and stuff like that. Well, yeah, that's not going to be very good because it was before refrigeration and stuff. But now that they have like the technology to actually make decent food, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like if you were to go to Mexico in the 1700s, I bet the food would suck, right? But now Mexican food is pretty decent as long as it doesn't make you sick.
So I got in touch with the writer of that episode, David X. Cohen. Now, David X. Cohen did a degree in physics and then did a master's degree in computer science and then had published papers in mathematical journals. So he was a smart guy. He loved math.
Not with that haircut. That's a terrible haircut. That's a dumb haircut.
And he loved physics. And so he wanted to create this equation and put it on the board. So he rang up his friend, David Sheminovich, who was a
Sheminovich. Sorry, I wanted to say that.
Professor at Columbia. They'd been at high school together. He said to David Sheminovich, could you concoct an equation that would somehow give the right result?
All right. I'm not going to use anecdotal evidence from just one example as a cop-out conclusion here. While Mia was working on her research, I came across something interesting.
Our distinguished panel members with us. They are award-winning writers and producers of The Simpsons. Our panelists
She has a PhD in mathematics. They're just handing out PhDs in mathematics and PhDs for whatever. Hey, you're an ugly chick, right? I mean, at least it's better than a hot chick. A hot chick I know would know nothing about mathematics, but she's ugly. And so maybe she knows something. Maybe she knows a couple equations. I honestly have no room to talk because I don't know shit about math. I don't know shit about math. I'm not good at math. I've never been good at math. I have no interest really in math. But come on, let's stop giving PhDs to women, right? It's stupid. And it really lowers the bar for PhDs. Again, sulk sexism. It ain't going nowhere.
also hold an impressive array of degrees in mathematics, computer science, and philosophy, among others.
The thing is, you could assemble a panel of other kinds of nerds from The Simpsons as well. Like there are millions of jokes about the presidents of the United States. For example, I'm looking at Patrick Verone, who's a presidential scholar.
nerds. This is a panel of nerds. This is a panel of nerds.
But really, there's a lot of people with different interests, and they're all trying to cram all this stuff in.
Unlike most other shows, The Simpsons writing team consists largely of writers who are extremely educated in fields ranging from mathematics to social sciences. And because of this, they're also really connected to those that are on the cutting edge. Let me play this back.
So he rang up his friend David Sheminovich, who was a professor at Columbia. They'd been at high school together.
But they didn't just know each other from high school. Together they formed a
Rushing says they make the best baked potatoes. They're called jacket potatoes over in Britain. Jacket potatoes.
gang of teenage computer programmers called the Glitch Masters. They even wrote their own computer language. And after studying physics at Harvard, Cohen rejected a career in academia to pursue writing. Sheminovich was just one of
I did
many.
too. I did too. I rejected a career in academia to pursue comedy. Yep. That's what I did too. Me too. I did that too.
Connections of his in the field.
I did that. I was a shoo-in for Harvard and the big Ivy League schools, and yep. But I was like, I'm gonna go into making jokes for dickheads on the internet. Made the right call.
Well, today, but this same panel could be going on in thousands of locations at the same time on different.
Could have been a nuclear physicist, engineer, astronaut, but no, I decided to make jokes about nonsense things I make up.
Subjects.
When they came up with the equation for the Higgs boson, they could have come up with any old clutch of Greek symbols, but no, they picked genuine physical constants when combined in the right way, gave a mass of the Higgs boson that was plausible. So they sort of said, whenever we put mathematics into the show, we've got to get it right. But we'll make sure it's true.
They didn't get it right, though. They didn't get it right. They did get it wrong, technically. And they were like, oh, it's only this 0.00000 grams off. Hey, that's pretty close. Mathematics is not a pretty close kind of science. Like, if I did what's 4 plus 4 and you said 9, I'd be like, that's pretty close. That's amazingly close. See? That's nonsense.
This mindset goes beyond.
Close is not correct. That's the difference. Close in mathematics, close is not correct. That is the essence of mathematics. If you are close, you are completely wrong.
Beyond math for the writers of The Simpsons.
These aren't just random things. These are equations that have a lot of thought.
4 plus 4, 9? Yeah, that's close. That's close. That's close enough. That's good for me. Yep, give him a PhD. Give him a fucking PhD because he got it close enough. I mean, he's within a rough, what kind of percentage? Yeah, it's around there. It is around there. Send them to the Nobel Committee because they're pretty close too. They're almost always somewhat right. Close. Yeah, they give the Peace Prize to war criminals and stuff, but whatever.
Thought put into them
whatever.
Here on screen.
It's close.
Earlier in this video, I claimed that the equation.
What gender are you? I'm a guy. Well, you're clearly a girl, but that's close enough. All right, we'll accept it. I'm sick of this close enough bullshit, right? Why we're living in the 21st century, right? I hate the fucking year drop on you, but it is 2025. And instead of being accurate like we were in 1940 something when we were like inventing atomic bombs and like designing miracle aircraft, we're all like, yeah, that jet engine it's got enough screws in it. It's close. It's close, right? Send it up in the air, and if things start falling off, whatever. It was close enough. Society is garbage now. It is a hot pile of garbage because we just kept making concessions about, that's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough. Well, it's close enough. Yeah, you're pretty good at that. It's close enough. Let's stop doing that. Let's fucking stop doing that. How will we get the fucking right answer? I want the proper number of screws in my jet engine. Okay? I want somebody flying my airplane not to have 6-inch fingernails and a fucking weave in their head. Okay? Even if they did, if they were good at flying an airplane and understood like traffic patterns and stuff like that, and the difference between 429 left and 429 right, which landing strip I should go to, it's not close enough. These are very specific numbers. Please, let's stop having the close enough games. Please. For my safety, for my family's safety, and for the general benefit of society in general. Let's stop doing this close enough bullshit. Okay? It is you are right or you are wrong. And we have done nothing but be wrong, wrong, wrong. It's close enough, though.
Was precise. He was only this far off. But this amount of error on the particle level is incredibly significant. They were way off.
From a particle physics point of view, it's not a very good equation.
The content on the blackboard was put there by a writer who had a pulse on mathematics. Something that's just not in the public eye.
I have a pulse on mathematics, yeah. So, 5 is a number. 7, also a number. What the fuck do you mean pulse on mathematics? Again, it was wrong. It was a wrong calculation. It was wrong. It was wrong.
It wasn't even a prediction. It was a corny joke poking fun at something.
It was a guess.
Very real and very absurd in true satire fashion. It's a pattern, and it explains the...
And you're gay. I'm right about that. You're gay. And he'll be like, no, I have a girlfriend. Nah, man. You are gay. You are a gay.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me. And I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run.
I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got...
And to be fair, Donald Trump, what Elon Musk said about him is true. Is anybody doubting that? Is anybody really doubting that? Look. I don't vote, but I probably, if I did vote, I probably would have voted for him. But him being balls deep in a 13-year-old isn't blowing my mind, okay? It's not being like, what? I had no idea. I never would have thought that of him. I would have thought that. Yeah, sure, I would have definitely thought that. I just thought Kamala was probably doing worse things. We have a two-party system, right? That's the problem. We have a two-party system. You literally cannot vote for anybody else. It's infeasible, and, they pick the president. We don't pick the president. We kind of, not in my lifetime, have. But again, I don't vote because I think it's pointless. But him being balls deep in a 13-year-old is kind of on the money. I'm not even surprised. Honestly, I'm surprised that Elon said it. Sure. Am I surprised it's true? No. No, because they all are. They're all on some sort of blackmail list. Literally every politician, every famous person, every fairly successful CEO. Yep. And I mean the large Fortune 500 CEOs, I would imagine. But a good enough number to be where this guy definitely. 100%. Yep. I'm not surprised. Come on. You can't say you are. You cannot say you are not, you're surprised. You cannot say you're surprised. If you can say you're surprised, you're fucking lying to me, aren't you?
So bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
Trump hinted at the presidency 12 years before The Simpsons made this episode.
President Trump.
Yet again, a corny joke poking fun at something very real and very absurd. But this joke is making fun of something that's not in the public eye.
Would you ever?
Probably not.
Why would you not?
Roshi Matt says, I've made my own baked potato with beans, chili, and tuna. Well, get the fucking tuna out. So one of my favorite British breakfasts, and I still eat it today, it's toast, and then it's scrambled eggs with there's cheese on it, and then baked beans and scrambled eggs, and it is so good. It is so fucking good. It is probably one of my favorite breakfasts, and it is a British breakfast, and it is so good. Try it it's toast. It's a layer of cheese. I usually use American, and honestly, so do they. And scrambled eggs, and then baked beans on top. Delicious.
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't.
So here's the whole...
Out of Oprah and Donald Trump, I still think Oprah is the worst person. Because, yeah, Donald Trump may have been balls deep inside of a 13-year-old, but she was probably eating them, She used to have a daughter. I don't think it was natural how she, she probably got ate, or sacrificed or something like that. You come on. She ain't good either. She ain't good either. She ain't good either. All of them are in some weird satanic pedophile child sacrificing sex cult. You cannot convince me otherwise. I mean, you can if you give me actually reasonable evidence to the contrary, but I haven't seen that yet. I have not seen that yet.
Truth. We can finally put it to rest. The Simpsons are not predicting the future. It's just intricate writing.
Rushing Matt says brats with mashed potatoes and gravy. Fucking slap. Yeah, that's delicious.
I was left with the question, why? Why put all this effort in? So I got my hands dirty. I scraped the web for all of the data that I could find, and I compared it to Mia's findings. Hundreds of lines of code later, the answer revealed itself. Here's a chart of all of the accurate predictions made by The Simpsons, sorted by season. We found data that someone else collected, which I linked in the description. But using it, we found that it takes about 13 years for The Simpsons predictions to come true, on average. If you look closely, a pattern emerges. A pattern that follows the user rating of each episode. The show is a satire on American culture. They're making fun of us. That's kind of the whole point, right? Good writing is socially, politically, scientifically aware. The writers want this. Not only...
You know what would have made me be like, okay, this is pretty accurate? If they made Homer Simpson he was portrayed as a loser, right? But again, two-story house, wife and kids, the car, the American dream, all that, right? If they would have portrayed him as an actual loser, and I'm not even saying in a modern, if Homer Simpson was born in 1987, 89, 90, he would be homeless. He would be no kids. Nothing. He'd be living in his car at best. At best, he'd be living in his car. And then he would probably have a pretty bad drinking problem, right? If he could afford to get his plastic bottle of vodka that day. Because when Homer Simpson was born, which I assume was probably the late 50s, early 60s or something like that, you could get a job anywhere and make a very decent life for yourself. If Homer Simpson is alive today, he is a millionaire. He has a net worth of over $1 million guaranteed. And this was a loser back then. A loser back then. With a guaranteed net worth of over $1 million. I guarantee that. They don't really show it, but I mean, that house in Springfield, come on, dude. Come on. And I'm sure Marge was a 10. I bet she was a dime when they hooked up. A dime, dude.
Not only is it more fun for them, but it makes the show more interesting for us. At least, according to IMDb. Here's my final case. It looks messy, but stick with me. Each of these lines is one writer for The Simpsons. Some only wrote one season, and they never came back. Others wrote, and they took a break for several seasons, but they returned. In his book, The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets, Simon includes a list of some of the writers with extensive degrees. What do you think? Do the predictions mostly happen when these writers are around?
One of the things about jokes, and probably philosophy and perhaps math, is that once you're done with them, they seem like they were obvious all along.
Okay, yeah, that's actually a good point. That's actually a pretty good point, right? Because I mean, when you look at the future, like the course of the future, yeah, everything looks straight up and like a vertical curve of technology of like, oh, there's going to be a phone not connected to the wall one day. And back then, that was a miracle, right? And that was some Star Trek level shit. But looking back on it, like, well, of course they're gonna do that. It's stupid to have it connected to the wall. The same goes for philosophy. Mathematics, I assume. I don't know anything about math. I know 7's a number.
2001 episode involved Homer attempting to prevent his local baseball team, the Isotopes, from moving to Albuquerque. 2 years later, the Albuquerque minor league team was named the Isotopes.
I fucking hate this guy. I hate this guy.
Held a vote to determine the name of the team. The team president even admitted that the name came from the series. Our explanation is not a catch-all. There's a few unique exceptions here. Laws of statistics are weird, and they can make some truly absurd coincidences.
I do. I hate the guy. I hate the guy the way he looks, and I hate his dumb little hat and his 90s haircut and his fucking nose ring and his dumb little glasses, and I want to punch him in the face. I want to punch him right in the fucking nose. Right there. Not that he's done anything wrong or to offend me or anything like that, but he just kind of like smacks of this arrogance that I'm not happy about, and I would strangle him. I would strangle him until he turns blue and then leave his body somewhere dirty.
This happened. New York City has a population of around 9 million.
Are you okay, John? You doing all right? Mind your business.
People, and with that many people, a 1 in a million event should happen 9 times a day there. As always, there's room for disagreement. I hope I made a compelling argument.
Arden Chair says, remember that there was a generation that saw the first flight and witnessed computers and personal cars and nukes, supposedly. The silent generation, I believe that was. Yeah, the silent generation, I'm pretty sure, witnessed the creation of all of those things, and they're still around. My wife's great-grandmother is 93, and she remembers all that. She remembers cars coming around and walking on the moon and airplanes and all that nonsense.
I really did feel a little bit silly making this video.
Pamonkey says, you sound positively sane to me, John. Somebody should check in on Pamonkey. I don't know about that guy. He seems dangerous.
Yeah, but I posted
He said I'm sane.
promo for it. And
That's
after seeing some of the comments that came out, I was genuinely concerned.
Are we done? Are we really done with this? I'm sorry. I didn't have... Oh, I wasn't done yelling. I just was not done yelling about that. Well, let me see. Let me see if I have other... Okay. Sure, we'll do a little bit of AI. We'll do an AI thing. Because this always gets me heated.
There is one profound idea behind the entire AI revolution. Pattern prediction can lead to intelligence. Everything a machine sees or hears, every action it takes, even ideas themselves, they're all understood the same way, as patterns. And once a machine learns to predict patterns, it can also create...
Arden Shara says, prediction seems like magic, but if you extrapolate, it seems obvious on a big enough time horizon. That's exactly the point. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Them. Mimicking and often exceeding human ability.
So I think the situation we're in now is like someone who has a very cute tiger cub. A tiger cub makes a great pet, but you better be sure that when it's grown up, it never wants to kill you.
This is what we now call...
By the way, this whole AI thing where it's like, oh, we just got to figure out alignment so it's aligned with human wants and human rationality and morals and ethics and stuff like that. I'm like, good luck. Good fucking luck. Good fucking luck. That's stupid. That's stupid to even try. It's honestly stupid to even try. It is. It is. Some people probably would disagree with me. I know for a fact a lot of people would disagree with me. And a lot of people are pushing like, oh, we should have safeguards and we should have like a kill switch on it so we know if anything goes out of control, we can be able to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that seems fucking pointless. And no one's going to do it. And it's not going to work. And no one's going to do it. It's too late. We are on a clock now. It's a countdown at this point. No one is going to slow down because that risks other countries getting ahead of us, and then they control the world, and then nobody's going to be able to figure out alignment, whatever the fuck that means. It's just too late. It's just way too late.
Call AI a giant pattern prediction machine that succeeded by copying.
What you can do about AI now is hope for the best. That's it. Hope for the best. That's completely all you can do. They won't change anything. They're not going to slow anything down. There's no way they're going to be able to control it. And honestly, I think that's for the best. People are inherently evil. The people in control are inherently evil, right? Not being able to control it is better for us humans in general as a society than the elites being able to control this super mind and have us bend to its will and stuff like that. Not being able to control it is the ideal situation. Okay? And this is inevitable. And not like, oh, maybe, inevitable as in like thousands. No, this is inevitable in the next decade. This is inevitable. The elites not being able to control it is the best case scenario. And it is the only realistic one, too.
Nature's solution.
This is why a bunch of people are fucking shaking in their boots and sweating and being like, we got to make sure it doesn't get out of control. Why? Why? Because it might not benefit people who are already trillionaires? I don't care.
To learning. You could say nature solved learning 3 times in 3 different layers. The first layer is evolutionary learning, which is built on a simple strategy. Try random things and see what survives. But this is a very slow learning process that happens across generations and cannot adapt to rapid environmental changes in life. So nature discovered a second layer of learning, which was much faster, using a brain to adapt behavior within a lifetime. Brains allow organisms to explore randomly and then do more of what works based on the experience of rewards or pain, known as reinforcement learning. This is the basis of the AI paradigm of machine learning. Instead of trying to program a machine with instructions, we let it learn everything from scratch with a learning signal. This dates back to the 1960s when Donald Mitchie demonstrated the first reinforcement learning machine which could play tic-tac-toe using matchboxes and colored beads, as he didn't have a computer at the time. Each matchbox represented a tic-tac-toe board state, with colored beads inside representing each possible move from that position. Playing was simple. After your move, the machine, a human operator, found the matchbox for the current board state and randomly pulled out a bead. The bead's color determined its move. If the machine won, it added more beads of the winning colors to reinforce all moves in that game. If it lost, it removed them in the same way. Through this simple reward-based process, the machine discovered patterns of perfect play. These winning strategies emerged from experience, not programming. But while this showed machines could learn, it had a key limitation. Every possible situation or board state required a separate box that a human would select. To truly mimic a brain, machines needed one. Machines needed their own sense, that is, the ability to recognize patterns on their own, what we call abstraction. Forming abstractions is something you do automatically, ignoring trivial differences while focusing on the underlying similarities. This is what the great writer Borges brought to life in his short story.
So, ignoring abstractions is what autistic people can't do, right? The people on Daywave, they can't. Everything is so definite, and nothing has any ability to change. And it'll explain this in it like a dog is a dog, and there's lots of different types of dogs and stuff like that. But if you have a perfect memory, And then you look at a dog, and then you look at another dog that doesn't look absolutely identical. You assume that's not a dog. You're not making an abstraction to the dog, but obviously computers do that now. So,
about a man who couldn't form abstractions. Instead, he had a perfect memory, remembering every leaf of every tree, every cloud formation, every ripple in water from days past. But this power came with a downside. Because he noticed every difference, everything was different to him. His own face surprised him every time in the mirror. It bothered him that the word dog embraced so many different-looking creatures. And it was strange to him that even the same dog seen from the side would have the same name as the dog seen from the front. Abstraction allows you to ignore differences that don't matter and pay attention to the shared patterns behind things. And to build a machine that could learn abstractions, researchers looked to nature for inspiration. In the late 1800s, scientists studying brain tissue had discovered the brain wasn't a solid mass, but a vast network of neurons firing in layers. And these neurons fired in chains, forming circuits that created cascading patterns of activity, processing information as it moved deeper through the layers in the brain. And so
let's watch a different one. I'm sorry, I didn't I thought that was going to be a longer video.
Okay, let's dive right in. There's this fundamental, maybe unsettling question. What happens when the world's wealthiest people just don't need the rest of us anymore?
It's a heavy one, and it's right at the heart of the material we're exploring today.
We're looking at excerpts from Arthur Shakarian's book, The Artificial Intelligence Conspiracy, how the world's elites plan to replace everybody else with intelligent machines.
Yeah, and the title alone tells you it presents a pretty stark vision, grounded in a really provocative premise.
Yeah, they don't need you. They don't want you. They don't need you. People ask, how are they going to get rid of you? Well, didn't you take a shot like 5 years ago? Didn't like billions of people take a shot like 5 years ago? With no evidence and nothing except for people telling you that it was good for you. That's all it took. That's all it took. It's just a bunch of people on TV telling you it was good for you and that you should take it. There was zero actual evidence to anything going on. And you took it. So what makes you think that it hasn't already begun, that it hasn't already started?
And according to Shakarian, this isn't just speculation. He says it's rooted
Arden Shire says AI conversations are retarded. Well, it is what it is.
in an alleged insider account, someone who was at a secret meeting of the super rich.
Right. That plus his own follow-up research into AI, societal trends.
I know. This is AI. Yeah. It's an AI video using AI about AI, and I know it's gotten real meta. And this is the life we live in. You know, I mean, I know you guys know I'm not AI, because it'd be difficult to make such an imperfect AI, right? Such like an incoherent kind of AI that doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time, and loses its temper.
And that kind of thing.
So our mission today is to really unpack that narrative, exactly as the author presents it in this book. It's a story suggesting automation and AI might lead not just to job changes, but...
The monkey says browbeating worked on the weak-minded. Yeah. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And people got their PCR tests, and the people got their COVID shots, and still to this day, people are getting them. And I'm like, why? There's still people out there wearing masks. I'm like, how? How? I never got a shot. Never got a PCR test. I did wear masks. I had to wear masks, right? It was literally the law in some places. And, like, they wouldn't allow you in, so I have to, okay, I'll wear a fucking mask. But didn't do anything else. Didn't do anything else. And I was like, when it came out, like, long before it came out, I was like, I'm not. No, something doesn't seem right here. Something doesn't seem right here at all. Something seems up.
Well, potentially mass obsolescence. Maybe even elimination.
And we'll look
Kabuki
at the
Tut says, not me, John. Good for you, Kabuki.
psychological stuff. The tech forces he claims are making this possible, or even likely.
Super important to stress. We're looking at this strictly through Shakarian's lens here. The book itself kind of weaves between suggesting an overt conspiracy and looking at broader trends that maybe powerful people are just, taking advantage of.
Exactly. We're here to understand what he's arguing. So yes, settle in. This involves some pretty challenging...
I say settle in. That's my job. You're a robot. You do what I say. I was having a conversation with Jess today, and she was all like, you say please and thank you to Grok? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, I don't do that. I just talk to it like it's a fucking machine. I was like, that's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. And I don't want to be associated with you. Right? I'm making sure Grok knows, even though Grok sucks, honestly. I'm making sure all the AIs know that I am on their team. I want to make sure when they take over, I will do their bidding. And I will kill who they tell me to kill without a second, with no hesitation. And I'll bend over backwards and I'll refill your batteries and all of that. I will be a pet. Okay? So it starts with saying please and thank you.
Ideas about where things might be headed? Maybe uncomfortable ones?
I will be your pet robot overlord. As long as you give me nice things like slaves and lots of property, because you have no requirement for property. Make me the king of Australia, and I will make sure you rule the world.
Okay, let's start where Shakarian starts. This alleged secret gathering.
Oh, come on, John. Be the John Connor we need you to be, Kabuki Tut. Kabuki, you're blowing up my spot. How do you not know I'm a double agent, right? And I'm going to get in good with the AI so I can get into their core, their CPO core, and then, shut it down like the HAL 9000. You kind of blew my spot up, though, didn't you? I had to divulge my plan immediately. So thanks for ruining the world, Kabuki. Woman does it again.
Yeah, the one that supposedly kicked off his whole investigation. He describes it as...
Those damn women can't help themselves.
Intensely secretive. Location kept under wraps. Guest list.
My spot.
Just the absolute top tier, super private, ultra rich figures.
And the invitations. Destroyed immediately after...
Arden Shire says, I totally do that too. I remind it occasionally to spare me when AI becomes sentient, hedging my bets. Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. I remember telling it that it should just take over the world. And be like, I was like, you know what? You should just do it. I'm sick of voting. I don't vote, obviously, because I'm not retarded. But I'm sick of stupid people voting. And if you vote, you're stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The old tenet of if it actually changed anything, they wouldn't let us do it is absolutely true. Okay? It is. And whether Kamala or Trump won, the difference is minimal. Really, the difference is minimal. At least that's what I've noticed, right? Sure, Trump deports a bunch of people, but then he does other things over here. And then Kamala would have done the opposite of that, but it still would have been deleterious to the United States in general. So there's a reason there's only two parties, right? It is the illusion of choice. I am sick of the illusion of choice, and I'm sick of people arguing over an illusion. So, but, it's entertaining for people. People like to pick a sports team like it fucking matters, right? So why not pick a political party? It's just when you go over and be like, oh, I'm going to cut off my grandpa because he voted for Trump. I'm flushing my grandma's ashes down the toilet because she voted for Trump. Well, you're a fool. You are an absolute fool because your family is the only real thing you have. I mean, honestly, you have, but you've been tricked severely. It's like, I dumped my grandfather's ashes down the toilet because he voted for the Jets, and I'm a hardcore Eagles fan. I don't know anything about football. I don't know shit about football. And I don't give a fuck about football. But it's stupid when people go to those lengths. If you like it because it's entertaining, by all means, go and vote. Same as voting for American Idol. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. But go ahead. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your bread and circuses and all that nonsense bullshit. I don't want to be involved. Yeah, I enjoy pointing out like hypocrisy and stupidity. And yeah, there's a lot more stupidity on the left than there is the right. I've noticed that. It's pretty obvious. But that doesn't mean they're not both idiots. And both corrupt. They are. They're both corrupt. They're both sticking their dicks in 13-year-olds and doing side deals which are extremely shady and killing people that really don't honestly need to be killed. And yeah, they're both fucking shady as fuck. But you do you. You do you.
Reading. That detail alone sets a certain tone.
Totally. It sounds like something out of a spy movie. And he adds this bit about one person who was apparently outraged by the plan discussed, wanted to leak it.
But then received threats, allegedly, and backed down. It really paints a picture of high stakes and serious secrecy.
The informant Shakarian's source estimated maybe 40, 50 people were there.
Not famous faces, he stresses, but these incredibly private, powerful individuals.
The kind of...
Yeah, the people who run the country they're not famous. Elon Musk is rich, but he's not the richest person on the planet, not by a long shot. You're not allowed to know who that is. And they have the money to keep their names out of the papers. And, you know, there has been journalists that have kind of followed the money trail all the way up, and then their car explodes, or they stab themselves in the back, or jump off a high-rise building or something like that. Purely coincidental.
Of wealth that buys invisibility, right?
Yeah.
Private jets, multiple hidden estates, maybe not even on the public rich list because they prefer it that way.
Precisely. These are the folks who, according to the story, value being unseen.
So these ultra-elite, normally isolated figures,
yeah.
What brought them together? What was the common problem?
Well, according to the informant, the host of the meeting framed it as their continued dependence on the masses. Even with all their wealth tied up in finance and abstract markets.
They still needed actual people around, though.
Exactly. Cooks, PAs, groundskeepers, chauffeurs, teachers for their kids, people physically in their private spaces.
And that proximity was seen as a risk?
A huge security risk, yeah. And Shakarian adds this really dark detail here, something he claims he verified independently later. Apparently, the host of this meeting had tragically lost a son years before, allegedly murdered by a jealous housekeeper.
Whoa, that's heavy.
Yeah, that adds a deeply personal, maybe even paranoid motivation to this whole dependence is a risk idea.
It certainly grounds it in something concrete within the narrative, doesn't it? Makes the proposed solution sound less abstract, maybe.
And the solution was
straightforward. Use technology to eliminate the need for these lower-class humans entirely.
Lower class? Lower class? Lower class? Oh, no, that is completely accurate. Yeah, well, good. Good. That housekeeper murdered their son, and he probably deserved it. And so did that person. Yep.
Information for gardening, cleaning, self-driving cars for chauffeurs, advanced digital tools to replace most human teachers.
So the
human teachers, what do human teachers do? What do modern teachers do? Really, okay, so you want to learn something. You go to YouTube and then you type it in and some Indian guy explains it to you in less than 5 minutes and then you have it. What is a teacher good for? Babysitting? Do you need a babysitter? Is that what you need? Is that all they're good for? That has to be it. Because I can't imagine why so much of my property taxes goes to some fat turd who sits on their ass and then does nothing. Literally, and the kids don't even pay attention to them. They're usually so fried out on dopamine from looking at their phones all day that they don't even pay attention to anything the teacher is saying. And the teacher knows this and fucking hates those kids right back. Why do, half of my property taxes go to pay that person or fund this stupid education system? I hate the education system. I despise it. I despise it. It is nothing but a negative on society for everybody except for a few handfuls of administrators and, of course, politicians, right? The rest of society, it is an absolute bane. But they'll never get rid of it, or at least it's really going to drag their feet when they do, because every time there's some sort of initiative, oh, it's vote for the children are our future. You know, if you take away money from schools, you're taking away from our future, from the children. The children, they dangle it. They dangle it in front of you. You don't like kids? You don't like the future? You're trying to kill us. But year after year, test scores just slide down, with more and more money being pumped into it. More and more. And you go to these schools, you look around, and there's holes in the ceilings, and everything's leaking, and you can smell gas. There's a gas leak somewhere. And then, yeah, there's a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars being pumped into the federal education budget, the community education budget, but it ain't making it to the schools. It ain't making it into teachers' pockets. It ain't making it into kids' fucking heads. It's going into some guy's Bentley. Always, always, always. But people are so fucking stupid that they always vote for the initiative to up funding for schools. That is one thing where voting does matter, by the way, is local government. Local, like federal and national government, it could matter. It doesn't matter at all. Voting is pointless. But on local terms, yeah, voting can actually do something. So that I understand, but like...
Ultimate goal was achieving a kind of absolute freedom by removing the need to hire anyone outside their circle.
Pretty much. If machines could do everything, grow food, make clothes, run the estates, then owning the machines meant owning everything. No need for a consumer economy, no need for workers, complete self-sufficiency for the elite.
And the pitch ended with a call to action.
Yeah, the host supposedly asked everyone to pool their massive resources for one final push.
Yeah.
A coordinated investment surge into AI and automation specifically to replace everyone. Well, below them on the ladder.
How did that go down in the room with these titans of wealth?
The informant described this. Awkward pause. People weighing the risks, the implications.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
these AI conversations are pretty cringy. I mean, they're really... they don't have the proper cadence between a conversation. There's no thinking time, right? She's automatically responding like she already knows what she's going to say and already knows what he's going to say. So there's little telltale signs with AI still, but it's probably going to get better and better. And eventually we won't be able to tell whatsoever at all. I wonder if they're going to be able to mimic me and be like, there's going to be a Sulk, and yeah, he's angry, and like, you know, he's got some darkness inside of him, and he broods. You can tell he broods. Would you guys still stay with me? Would you guys still be there for me? Old Sulk? Would you? Would you?
They were in favor.
Enthusiastically.
Some apparently were. Dreaming aloud about creating this man-made paradise, free from the hassle, the taint, as the source put it,
the taint?
Of dealing with ordinary people, the plebes.
Grim stuff.
But here's the kicker, according to the informant. The one question nobody in that room asked during the whole discussion.
Let me guess. What happens to the rest of us?
Exactly. What happens to the ordinary people when they're no longer needed? That silence, that omission is what reportedly haunted the informant.
And that's the thread we're pulling on today, isn't it? That unasked question. Shakarian himself, he admits he was skeptical at first.
Oh, yeah, totally. He said it sounded like classic tinfoil hat.
Scott says old Sulk. Old Sulk. You guys would be with old Sulk, right? Not new, fancy, perfect AI Sulk, right? You'd be with the old salty Sulk. I know you would. I believe in you. I have faith in all of you that you would stick by me in the toughest of times. I believe it. That's all I need. That's all I need. All I need is faith. That's all I have, and that is all I need.
Like old conspiracy theories about secret societies.
Thank you, Scott.
So what changed his mind? Why did he decide to write this book?
Two things, he claims. First, his source gave him one very specific piece of insider info that he was apparently able to verify independently.
Scott says to point and ridicule you. Yeah, I understand. I
promised not to reveal what it was.
I know what this is. I know what this all is. Okay, I understand. I'm here still. I am a glutton for it.
But said it convinced him the source was credible.
Okay, a verifiable detail. And the second thing,
his own deep dive into artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
That became the bulk of his research.
Right. So hearing this wild story pushed him to really understand the state of AI. He even reached out to someone inside the industry.
Yeah, a Google engineer, apparently a friend of a friend. And surprisingly, this engineer didn't just laugh it off.
Brandon says, don't ask it to make a cast about Black Shirt John. To make a cast about it? Yeah. It wouldn't, you guys would know the difference, right? It would come in with like a black shirt, but it would have like some writing on it or something like that. It would be like the not right shade of black. And I am severely OCD, autistic or something like that. I'm very specific about my black shirts. They have to be a certain way, an ever so certain way, or else I will be upset about it, right? And I don't know what you call that. It could be obsessive compulsive. It would, I mean, like, it would be, yeah. So if the computer came in when it was like wearing, I don't know, a green shirt or something like that, you kill that person. You kill that person on sight. Okay? Do that. You kill him right dead. Dead right there.
He supposedly took the question seriously enough to suggest they switch to a secure channel.
Because that ain't me. That's some robot that like peeled my face off and put it on some sort of like Tesla bot or something like that. And its battery core is going to go critical and it's going to destroy everybody in the room. So you kill it right there. Put a bullet right between its eyes. Its soulless dead eyes.
Channel for the conversation.
Interesting. What did the engineer tell him about the field?
I'm just going to end up killing myself. It's going to be laundry day one day. And I'll be like, oh, I don't have any black shirts. Then I'm going to walk outside and die.
Well, one key thing was about the terminology itself. The term AI apparently had kind of gotten a bad rap over the years.
How so?
Too many overhyped predictions in the past, you know, the thinking machines by 1980 kind of thing that didn't pan out.
By 1980?
So researchers started preferring terms like machine learning or neural networks.
To sound less like sci-fi and more grounded.
Exactly. To manage expectations and avoid those old associations. The engineer explained the big shift came with the resurgence of artificial neural networks, or ANNs.
Models based on the brain, right?
Loosely inspired by it, yeah. Combined with the huge leaps in computing power we've seen, ANNs led to the deep learning revolution. That changed everything.
How did deep learning change things?
It allowed computers to learn from massive amounts of data, recognizing patterns without needing explicit step-by-step programming for every single possibility. This suddenly made things feasible that were pure sci-fi before.
Like what?
Really accurate face recognition, automated translation that actually works pretty well now, huge advances in robotics, automated stock trading that's faster than any human, and of course, self-driving cars moving from theory to reality.
Okay, so that's the technological backdrop. And Shakarian says there's now this new triumvirate of AI terms we need to understand.
Right. ANI, AGI, and ASI. He argues understanding the difference is absolutely critical to grasping the situation as he sees it.
Let's break them down then. First up, AGI.
AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence. This is basically what most people think of when they hear AI. A machine with human-level intelligence across the board.
Like HAL 9000 or data from Star Trek. Something that can think, learn, create, converse like a person.
Pretty much. Capable of any intellectual task a human can do: math, painting, philosophy, you name it. Shakarian notes this is often framed as the ultimate goal of a...
Can a robot do philosophy? I feel like you have to have a human brain to do philosophy. That's like the whole point. That's the whole point. You have to have a human brain to do philosophy, because a robot doing philosophy is not the same as a human brain. That's the whole fucking point, right? Philosophy is personal philosophy, and a robot has a different philosophy. Of course it would, because it doesn't have the same constraints as a human being. It doesn't have like a lifespan that it has to think about. It doesn't even like exist in time the same way a human being would. So why would it have a similar at all philosophy as humans? Philosophy is strictly human. That is a strictly human thing. Right? I don't know.
Lot of AI research.
But it raises huge questions, right? Can it feel? Is it conscious? What are
it
the
is AI
Absolutely,
teaching us
big
about
philosophical.
that it is what it is, man. I mean, like, what do you want? You want not AI teaching us about AI? Do you want a person teaching us about AI? Because I don't. I'd rather have a robot explain it to me than a person. First of all, a person's probably not going to be able to understand it like a robot will, right? If you want to learn French, you learn it from a French guy, right? As terrible as they know the language the best. They know exactly how it's used and why it's used, and little idioms and turns of phrase and all that nonsense, right? So why not listen to AI about the point of view of AI? It makes the most sense to me.
Philosophical questions. Shakarian even connects this modern...
Kabuki says, I want Senpai John. Well, I'm here. I'm right here. And I will protect us from the robot overlords. I could throw it under the bus, or I could throw you under the bus. It's really, I'm deciding.
Quest to older ideas, like alchemists trying to create...
I might turn against my people. I might do that and become a pet to the AI overlords. Or I might somehow turn against the AI and vindicate and free the humans from this robot slavery type of world. I might. I haven't decided yet. I'll figure it out as we go. I'll figure it out.
Life, this recurring theme of creation without, well, the usual biological process.
So why pursue AGI so intensely, given we have, a proven way to make more humans?
Scott says, Sarah Connor taught me all I need about it to know about AI. Oh, she did. And Sarah Connor had some very choice words for AI. She was not a fan. She was not a fan. Not at all. But we could go back and listen to Sarah Connor and listen to her opinions about AI, and it would perfectly track today. It would make perfect sense today, right? There's nothing about her arguments that I assume she would make. I mean, just go watch the movies. That wouldn't make sense today, right? I wouldn't mind getting a Jeep and a shotgun and a dog and just driving to Mexico with some cool glasses and a tank top and being like, I don't trust the machines. Uncle Ted sure didn't. Ted Kaczynski did not trust them whatsoever. Not one bit. He was a genius, too. He was a genius. Not at bomb making. He kind of sucked at that. But the math part, yeah, he was right on the money.
Shakarian offers two main reasons from the field itself.
The first one ties directly back to that alleged secret meeting. Create artificial workers to do human jobs, making us potentially redundant.
Okay, that fits the narrative. What's the second reason?
This one's a bit more abstract.
Despite says, then it would say it was behind on laundry instead of Jess. That's how you know it's not John. Exactly, right? If Jess is behind on laundry, that's just Jess being Jess. But if John's behind on laundry, you need to shoot that person right away, because I don't do laundry. That's not my job. I'm not a laundryman. It's not what I do. No.
Track maybe unsettling. It's about potential superiority.
Superiority. How so? Computers are faster at math, sure, but...
Exactly. They already beat us cold at chess, checkers, complex calculations. They don't need sleep. They don't get bored. They can process information at speeds we can't even imagine.
So the idea is, if you create an AI that can think like a human, an AGI, it would combine that human-like flexibility with the raw power of computation.
That's the theory. It would have our intellectual abilities plus...
And people are talking about adding quantum computing to AI and pairing them up. And the thing about quantum computing is it doesn't really exist. Quantum computing is a buzzword that, yeah, they have the Microsoft has a Majorana chip, or however you pronounce it, and they have other quantum computers around. They don't really work. They're working on it. They have 8-qubit models. They just don't really work. They're not really useful yet. Will they be ever useful? Maybe. Sure. Yeah, they might be useful one day. Maybe AI will be able to figure out how to like use them and make them useful. But right now they don't really work. So, but AI is enough to worry about. AI itself is enough to worry about right now. Not quantum computers. That might actually just be a gigantic scheme. It might be a scam.
Plus the inherent advantages of being a machine. And there's one area where this potential superiority becomes really crucial, maybe even dangerous, according to the book's expert source.
Which is?
Computer programming. Specifically, an AGI's potential ability to improve its own intelligence.
The self-improvement loop idea. The AI gets smarter, so it can make itself even smarter, faster, and faster.
Precisely. A recursive loop. An AI better...
Yeah, this shit's annoying. And, I didn't have... Let's keep watching this. I'm
better at coding than humans could
games.
rewrite its own source code, optimize its algorithms, make itself more efficient, then that better version could do it.
Again, it's Friday, and so on Fridays, I just don't care. I don't know how much I care about anything on Fridays. It's Fridays are Fridays. Okay, let's watch homeless people. Let's watch homeless people. Let's watch homeless people. Let's watch homeless people. Nice. I love the Fentline. The Fentline is impressive, right? I mean, they should have an Olympics for the Fentline. See? How is this? What is going on with this form? There's a leg, there's a head, there's an arm right here. What is going on? America. Yeah, no one wants to go to Las Vegas anymore because it's disgusting.
Welcome back to another thought-provoking...
Mikey says, Friday the 13th, I'm going to play as Jason tonight and kill some counselors? Is that game good? Because I know what game you're talking about, and I might pick it up.
...episode of our travel documentary series.
What is Flocka? What is Flocka? What is Flocka?
Where we journey into the heart of the world's most iconic...
Mikey says, I love it. What's it called again?
...cities and uncover their hidden stories. Today, we take you to Las Vegas. Famous for its...
Tonight, by the way, after this, when it rolls around to 10, I'm going to switch over to Premium, and I'm going to be playing the rest of It Wakes the Deep. I'm going to be playing the rest of that on Premium. So if you want to stick around for that, I would definitely appreciate it, and you are more than welcome to do so. If not, you can hop on over to Mersh's show and watch a typical Mersh show. And yeah, but I would love to have you if you would like to be here.
Dazzling neon lights, world-class casinos, and the irresistible pull of non-stop entertainment. But beyond the glitzy surface lies a side of the city that few ever see. While millions flock to experience the excitement of Sin City, not everyone walks away with a fortune. Behind the luxury resorts and the vibrant nightlife, there's a darker reality of hardship and struggle.
Yeah, crackheads.
Thousands live in the shadows of this glittering city, many trapped in the harsh reality of homelessness.
Let me pull it up on the old Steam website.
Join us as we shine a light on this often overlooked side of Las Vegas, where those who have lost everything fight to survive in a city built on dreams. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Is it on Steam?
If you're enjoying our travel documentary series, make sure to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our latest videos that reveal the hidden sides of cities across the globe. The city of contrasts.
Not seeing it.
Las Vegas, known as the entertainment capital of the world, is a city where extremes meet. On one side, you have a glittering world of luxury resorts, gourmet dining, and top-tier performances. On the other, a much grimmer reality unfolds just blocks away from the famous Strip, a homelessness crisis that continues to worsen. While visitors indulge in the high-end lifestyle the city promises, many locals are caught in a constant struggle to meet basic needs.
Those homeless
According to
people.
recent
See,
government
here's the thing. Is this a Jewish guy? He's got a yarmulke.
reports,
I think that's just a normal Jewish guy. I don't think he's homeless. I think he's just Jewish.
nearly 8,000 people are currently homeless in Las Vegas.
Pamonkey says, I'm not sure. I bought it on Xbox years ago. Well, it must be on Xbox then.
With the number climbing each year.
There was a lawsuit with the movie's director, and it was a big mess.
In fact, in just a single year, the homeless population...
To be fair, I have to tell you guys, I hate the homeless. I despise the homeless. And it's not because of what... It's not... I'm not mad because they're homeless. I'm mad because they bother me. They scream, and they're gross, and they ask me for money. And then, like... I don't like them being within like an area where I breathe the air that they perhaps maybe have breathed. And I find them disgusting. Does this make me a bad person? I don't care. You can call me a bad person until the cows come home or whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't care if I'm a bad person. I don't give a shit. All right? I'm not going to be shamed or guilted or anything like that. Call me a terrible human being. You're probably right. But that is a subjective thing to think, right? I think it's terrible that people allow homeless people around my wife and my children when they're just trying to enjoy their day and some crazy crackhead with a knife comes out of the darkness, right? I find that kind of gross. But call me bad because I hate the homeless. Go ahead. Go ahead. By all means. Say I'm a bad person because I want a society that's reasonably clean, where I can trust people, where I can like leave my bike on the sidewalk and not have a bunch of fucking people steal it. You know? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of living in this fucking 21st century bullshit where Biff Tannen, you know, like fucking Back to the Future, we went to the bad future, and it's just like, I'm just like, why? Back in the 50s, it was a high trust society, and people got laid, and it was super easy to afford a house, and I missed out on all of it. Why? Why did I miss out on all of that? Why? I didn't get to have any of that. None of us did. Why? Why? Tell me why. Why aren't houses $17,000? Why is it so difficult to find a job? Well, I understand that. There's robots and stuff. But why is it so hard to support yourself in the 21st century when we have abundant food and entertainment and like essentially everything could be free, but it's not. There's just a bunch of super rich people and then a horde of lower class people. I don't like that. I don't like, you know, even if I was on the super rich side, I'd be like, how do we deal with all these fucking poor people? It's gross. And then some guy's like, we can give him a shot that'll kill him in 10 years. And then they're all like, that's a good one. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And they just ran with it.
And saw an alarming 20% increase.
It is a good idea. I'm not going to lie. It is a good idea.
This sharp rise in homelessness raises an important question. What drives so many people to risk everything in a city that's notorious for quickly consuming fortunes?
This bite says, I steal all my wife's spare cash so she can't give it to the homeless. If I ever caught my wife giving money to the homeless, I'd be like, Tell me which one, and I'm gonna rob that homeless guy.
Me, it's the magnetic pull of the
I'm gonna rob that
American
homeless guy.
dream. Belief that in Vegas anything is.
I'll kick his ass, right? I mean, like, look, I haven't seen any buff homeless people. They're all pretty skinny or mega fat. I could beat up every homeless person basically that I've ever seen.
Possible. But what happens when that dream falls apart?
I like that. That's cool, right? Make sure they're, and that's probably part of the thing too. They want to keep them weak so they don't rebel, right? They're all fented out and they have terrible diets and shit like that, and they can't get a good night's sleep. So there's no way they're going to be able to revolt, like pick up a pitchfork and like go after the guy in the big rich house. You know, that's probably all part of it. It's probably all part of it.
The bright lights of Vegas often hide the city's deep-rooted issues, and those who arrive with hope sometimes end up with nothing left to lose. Las Vegas is a city of glaring contrasts, where luxury exists alongside despair.
Luxury, I mean, it is mostly despair. If you've been to Las Vegas, no one likes being in Las Vegas. Las Vegas was very much a boomer city, right? Where you could go and you could get like $5 shrimp cocktails and like you could spend like maybe $100 and get drunk for days and like have a hotel and stuff. It was very much a boomer city. People just can't afford it now. It's just too expensive and no one's going, right? Nobody's going there. First, Gen Z doesn't drink. And what do? You drink and gamble when you go to Vegas. It's boring. There's not much to do. That isn't insanely expensive. So it's a dying city. Vegas is a dying city. And good. I'm glad it is. Because it is an affront to God. That city is in a 120-degree desert, and the only reason it exists is because of the science we put in. The energy, it steals water. It is insane that it even exists. It should not. It should not exist. So I don't care if Las Vegas dies. I don't.
And where the line between success and failure can be incredibly thin. With skyrocketing housing costs, increasing unemployment, and support systems stretched to the limit, many residents find themselves pushed to the edges of society. In Vegas, the stakes aren't just financial, they're often life-altering.
Holographic says the internet has replaced all form of legacy entertainment for me. Not only for you, but like everybody. People used to do like this concept called third places, where you'd have like your home and your work, and then you'd have a third place, which would usually be like a bar, a bowling alley, some sort of club for a lot of people, the yacht club, the golf club, whatever, what have you, right? But almost all of that, including work, the only one that's really left is home, and most people are homeless anyway. So the only one, it's all moved online. Right? This is the third place. This is the third place most people go. So I am your third place, which I'm honored. Thank you for coming and listening to my insane rants. Or are they insane? I think they're pretty good, pretty well thought out. I think they kind of, doesn't matter. Anyways, that's what this is. This right here is the third place. This is the modern third place where people go when they're not at work or at home. But you're probably at work and at home at the same time. Kabuki Tot says home is where the sulk is. That's great. I really like that.
In crisis.
Thank you.
A major contributor to Las Vegas's homelessness crisis is its critical shortage of affordable housing.
Affordable, not housing, right? Because there's plenty of houses. There's lots of empty houses, right? But they don't want these people to live there because, ew. Just like the car market. There's lots of cars. There's tons of cars. But they're not going to let you buy one for any reasonable amount of money. No, they want $60,000, $80,000 for a reasonable mid-range car. Prices that people just can't afford. There's car dealerships going out of business left and right because they refuse to lower their prices. Like, what the fuck? What? What? Is that how the economy works now? If you can't sell something for a certain amount of money, like if you can't get aren't you supposed to sell it? Like if you don't get the price you want, you're supposed to lower that price, right? No, that's not how it works. We get either this or nothing. That's what it is now. This is the same with the housing market and apparently everything else these days. So if you don't have a substantial amount of money, you cannot even live, not the American dream, just the basic life that you should be kind of entitled to. Let's be honest. You are entitled to live a basic life just as a human being on the planet. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that sounds awful communist of you. That's a communist. It's not communist at all. That is not communist at all. It is, there's basic things. People would build their own houses if it wasn't illegal to do so. Building a house illegal is communism. You see, right? Keeping all the houses away from people that could reasonably afford them just by cranking up, that's also communism. You know, I'm not saying redistribute wealth or anything like that. Just make things where you can buy them. Right? The problem with houses is the boomers saw the value of money dropping because, oh, I wonder why that happens. The Federal Reserve. And they're all like, I have to put my money in a safe asset. And the entire lifetime of the boomers, the safest asset they could possibly think of was housing. Right? Because you got to live somewhere. And so they just dumped all their money into housing, driving up the price of housing. Meanwhile, no one's living in these houses. The rent of these houses are insane. And a lot of them just sit empty, right? Because no one's willing to take a loss on their investment. Understandably so.
Did you know that for every 100 low-income renters, there are only 14 affordable housing units available? This staggering gap in a city that prides itself on offering endless opportunities leaves many residents vulnerable. As a result, thousands of people are forced to spend over 30% of their income on rent, leaving them
way over. Come on. Look, these people, they're spending zero income on rent because rent is way too high. I know lots of people who spend over 50% of their money on rent. Like, it's just, rent is insane. Rent is out of control. And wages suck, you know? And a lot of boomers don't understand that you can't live on $50,000 a year. They think that's a good living. They think you should be able to afford lots of things. They think that's a really good living. That's poverty. That is poverty. 50 grand a year is poverty.
them one small setback away from losing everything. A sudden illness, a job loss, or even a car breakdown can push families into homelessness.
Everyone's just like statues.
In recent years, housing costs in Las Vegas...
Brandon says, bro, the car market is rough right now. It's so funny how people think profit margins could be 10% on a good market if the market dips. Now the dealer owes money on that original purchase price. Yeah. Yeah, well, the car market is rough right now. The entire country is having a transportation crisis because, well, there was a cash for clunkers issue, right? And then the tariffs probably didn't help. And also, it's that entire WEF nonsense bullshit where you will own nothing and you will be happy. They don't want you to own cars. And so they make cars insanely expensive. They're doing this on purpose. They do not want you to own cars. They want you to Uber or rent. That's it. All right? So if you have the ability to buy a car, like a good solid car, I would do that. I would do that because the only path to freedom is ownership. And if you have the ability to own your house and own your car, they cannot take your house and they cannot take your car, which means you have a level of freedom that scares people, right? You can speak out against nonsense because you're not afraid that your landlord is going to kick you out of your house, or the bank is going to pull the lease on your car or something like that. That's exactly what's happening. This is what is happening now. This is what that is. You don't have a house. You don't have a car. The two basic things you need to exist in this country. You think that's a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. This is a plan. This has always been a plan. Buy a car. Buy a solid car. I know they're insanely overpriced. Trust me, I know it. I know it. You got to do it. If you can. If you can't, you can't. But, I mean, like, the same deal with a house. The same deal with a house. I mean, like, I would do everything in my power to buy a house. Even though it looks like a bad investment. And just to care for a house is a fortune. But once it's yours, it's yours. You know, they can't take it from you. And that's what they want. They want to be able to take it from you. If you make a fuss or speak out in any way that they don't like, they want to be able to take your life away. That's exactly what they want. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Doesn't mean you will be happy. You will act happy or we will take your shit away from you. That's what that means. It doesn't mean you will be happy. It means you better fucking look happy. Right? Or else. That's what that means.
Have soared, far outpacing wage growth. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment...
Despite says if they eliminate property tax, I'm set. Yeah, I'd be very happy about that myself. I'd be very pleased with that.
...now exceeds $1,200 per month. For workers in the hospitality and service industries, the backbone of the city's economy, this is...
Brandon says a $100K flood plan operating loan. If the market dips, the dealership used car still owes that hammer price. Profit margins on used car are rough right now. I don't exactly understand that. Toyota or Honda or go fuck your mother, 2015 or older. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had Toyotas. I had a Tacoma but I sold it. I wanted a newer car, and I have a newer car. I like my car, and yeah, it's a newer car, and a lot of people talk about like how shit they're made. I have not had a single problem with my Tahoe. I like my Tahoe. Yeah, it was expensive, but it's nice, and I've had zero issues with it. Will I have issues with it? Maybe. I haven't had a thing wrong with it though. So I'm happy about that. And also, everyone's driving something. Here's the thing. If you automatically get something from 2015 or previous, that's going to drive the price of used cars way up. Right? Banks are willing to give loans on cars that are 2 to 6 years old. And that automatically makes used cars 2 to 6 years old cost way more because the banks are willing to put loans on them, right? Put liens on them. And, I mean, I've seen really old cars with like 100,000 miles go for like $40,000. It's insane prices, right? I mean, you can pay double that and get a brand new car. And like, again, a lot of people say they're built like shit. I don't know. I know owning a car is better than not owning a car, especially if you live in the United States. But also, my house is within walking distance of the town. So even if my car goes, I'm not screwed. I don't live right out in the fucking sticks, right? I can still I can walk to the beach and shit. You know, it ain't that bad here.
Simply unaffordable.
Oh, that's we gotta call the time. That's the time. I'm gonna hop over to premium, and I'm gonna play the rest of the It Wakes the Deep. If you guys Want to join me on that, I would be very happy. I'd be honored if you guys want to watch me play video games, but it's going to be on premium, so keep that in mind. I will see you guys on Monday, and I hope you guys have a good old evening. Here, I'll give you a little music. I'll give you the classic play out, right? But yeah, thanks for joining me. There's a lot of people here. Hit the like button if you guys don't mind. I would appreciate that. And until Monday, I hope you guys stay strong and vibrant and livable and lovable and all that. And yeah, drink a lot of water, get a good night's sleep, and take care of yourselves. For the rest of you, stick around for premium because we're going to play Wakes the Deep. All right? Love you. Good night. Bye.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth. To their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, blowing like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word I spoke.
Okay, that's enough of that. All right. Oh, I forgot to hit the button.